This is our organ information video for the 24th of February. We're almost through the month here, amazingly. And today we're going to feature the West organ chamber, which is where one division of the organ is located, and it's the choir division. In Old English organs, it used to be called the chair division, but that's been modified by one letter to choir division now over the centuries. It's a more modest tone group of sounds, but a lot of really interesting pipes and features to look at. And as I mentioned a couple of weeks ago, I wish you could have seen. This is sort of a charming little chamber here because it's low and rather compact, and it used to be sort of like a dark cave in here. It was so full of dirt and rubbish and like centuries of not being cleaned out. So to see it so well lit and cleaned and painted is pretty miraculous, really. So we've got when you come in first, there's a set of the lowest pipes in this chamber are mounted horizontally. So these are 8-foot pipes, obviously, and that makes good use of space to have them horizontal because we don't have fully 8 foot of ceiling room here. So it works really well. And this is, as we said last week, an enclosed division, meaning that the pipes are behind swell shades, which are, as you recall, like the Venetian blinds that open and close. And you can see them here, so that's closed. And then they can gradually open, making the sound louder. There's 2 sets of shades. They both work in tandem. The one set that Scott is showing you right now behind the horizontal pipes, and then the other set behind the main wind chests over here that hold the bulk of the pipes in the normal vertical position. So we've got lots of different shapes of pipes here. This is like a sort of an education thing ready to go. We've got here it's called a Koppel flute because it has this little, Koppel is the German for cap or hat, and it has this literally a cap at the top of it. And it's shaped with a little cone at the top, which influences the sound of the pipes by constricting the harmonics that are emphasized in this particular pipe. And this cap will slide up and down, and that's how you tune the pipe. It's fitted very snugly with this felt band here so that it only will move if you give a good tug on it. And then the rest of the pipes on this side of the chest are just a little bit conical. If you look carefully at them, you can see these 3 sets are all wider at the mouth than they are at the top. They don't get a whole lot smaller, but in a subtle way, they do get smaller towards the top. And that, again, influences the sound of the pipe. So here we have 2 2/3 stop that actually when you play G or when you play C on the keyboard, it sounds a G. So it's an overtone. If you play a stringed instrument, you know how stringed instruments can play harmonics at different parts of the string. This is sort of the organ harmonics. It plays a different note. And this is a 2-foot stop, and this is again an overtone stop. All the stop footages that end in fractions sound notes. So if you press a C on the keyboard, you're not going to hear a C play. So it's very interesting. It's sort of like physics that you can see and hear. And the organ is a great demonstrator of that. And then over on this side of the walkboard, we have the one reed stop that's in this side of the organ is this beautiful English horn, which is very closely imitative of the English horn sound in the orchestra. And you can see, actually, let me get one of the pipes that has the bell on it. That's going to be a better, even more interesting. Sure, got this back in, right? Here we go. So this was another stop that Mr. Skinner was very proud of. He developed the organ English horn so that it sounded really like an orchestral English horn. And this bell at the top has everything to do with that close imitation of the English horn. It's got to have this particular unusual shape at the top to make it sound in that characteristic sort of mournful English horn timbre that is so beautiful. And if we take the boot off, you can see here in the base of the pipe, this is a reed pipe, and that's the reed right there. It's that little thin sheet of brass. That's what vibrates when air goes in the toe of the pipe. That little piece of brass vibrates. That's what makes the sound. And all this is a resonator for that sound that is created right here. And you can see on the reed there's a little weight. So sometimes reeds are weighted, and that again has to do with the sound they make. So you can see it's like a little teeny block of lead that's soldered onto the tip of that reed right there. That gives the reed a little more weight at the end, and that again is a factor in the sound that the reed makes when it's vibrating. So this is a great example of an English horn pipe. These pipes were among the ones that we were able to rescue from the very cold basement of the former Church of the Transfiguration on Euclid Avenue before that building was torn down. And that's where the Cleveland Clinic Holiday Inn is now, at Euclid and 86th Street, I think it is. So it's, when I see these pipes now refurbished and looking so beautiful, I'm very, very glad that they were able to be saved before the church was torn down there some years ago. So gorgeous English horn pipes. They're going to make a gorgeous sound in a few weeks' time when they're all voiced and ready to go. Then we've got wood pipes and metal pipes. We've got, this is again an old wood set that you can see the stopper at the top, and that's this handle is connected to a solid, very tightly fitted stopper with leather around the edge that makes it really snug, and that's how you tune the pipe. This is the mouth here. You can see it's got a little arch to it, and that, as you would imagine, has to do with the sound of the pipe. So these are called arched mouths, when it's not a straight line, but rather it's got a little curve to it right there. So that's an interesting feature. We have metal pipes of all shapes and sizes over here. Good examples here of mitered pipes. And if you were listening carefully to our video from a week or two ago, we talked about the beards in the mouth, and you can really see, this is a bigger example, you can see really well the beard right here. It's a piece of wooden dowel, painted black in this case, that goes across the mouth and helps to stabilize the tone of the pipe. One more interesting feature, and again, we've just got good examples where you can see really easily the business end of the pipe. Air goes in here, this is the toe hole, and then that creates sound right here at the mouth of the pipe. These flaps on either side are called ears for obvious reasons. And then at the mouth, the sound, the real sound is created right there in that very minute opening between those two pieces of metal. And you can see the little indentations across the languid here, and those are called nicks, N-I-C-K-S. They're made with a little tool like a dentist would use, and you just press really gently at regular intervals across there. It helps to smooth out the tone of the pipe, not make it so abrupt when air starts to go through there. So I'm just going to really quickly. So makes a lot of sound, and I can tell you it takes a surprising amount of wind to get this pipe fully speaking. So it's a very generously scaled. You've got to get all this column of air in vibration in order to get the sound, in order to get the pipe playing the way it wants to. So that's a good example of the mouth of the pipe, and you can see the nicks and everything there. It's all very interesting. And we've got larger metal pipes here, larger wood pipes back here. And those are, again, you can see the arched mouths in these big wood pipes here. And you can see the big dowels in these. These are, you know, the low end of these stops. So they're the longest pipes and they're the biggest pipes. And so everything is really easy to see here. So there's our beard across here. Here's our ears. And then the sound itself really comes from right in there. And you can hear the tip of my pen as it rattles across those nicks in the mouth. You know, those are those little indentations there, and you can hear as I scooch the pen across there, it you know, catches each one of those nicks really quickly. So that's just a little picture into all the big variety of pipes that we have in this small chamber. Lastly, over here, we have the 21st century brains of this organ. And those of you that, of course, work with computers will recognize some of this stuff. This is all the solid state technology and the computer processor here and everything that brings the electric signals from the console up into the pipe chamber and then feeds along through these wires from the board here into the wind chest. And you can see they're all neatly bundled. They go through here, down here on the floor, up here, and into the bottom of the wind chest. So that under each one of these pipes, there's a valve that catches an electric impulse and opens when you play that key and lets air into the appropriate pipe at the appropriate moment. So in a week or two, we're going to have a video in the Flentrop organ in the back of the cathedral, and you can see the difference in the basic mechanism between the Flentrop and the Eowyn Skinner. They're really interesting to see how they both work in quite different ways to achieve the same end. So thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you hopefully next week.